I don't even know where that's coming from. I guess it's just one of their small steps, because what they plan on doing is bringing hundreds of their fleets in flybys so that everybody can see them. And then eventually what they're going to do is, once everybody, the initial shock, the only people that are going to be shocked are the government, because everybody else knows they exist. But once the government's no longer shocked, then they're going to invite people to have tours on these UFOs. They're going to have select areas around the country where you can, one UFO will land in your community, and you can go and you can get a tour of these UFOs, and they'll give some people rides, like it's a carnival park or whatever, and, take people up for UFO rides. And this is a way of conditioning their arrival. This is their way of saying, hi, we're here, and we're never leaving again. Because once they're here, they're not going back. They're already here, folks. Once we acknowledge their existence, that there's no turning back. We just went from one takeover of a lizard coup attempt of our government, the shadow government, which is nothing run by reptilians, to another hostile or unhostile invasion by the Omegans. And the Omegans are the ones behind all of this UFO stuff right now. And the Omegans are the Annex. It's the Maitreya, Germain, Sananda. It's this whole I Am New Age crowd. All these ones coming claiming that they've reached a godhood, and they're ascended masters, and they're gurus, and they're here to help humanity, and they're our forefathers and our creators. I call them all the Omegans because Saint Germain gave them that name because they would be the last days armies of Christ. And of course, we know them as Antichrist. But that's what they go by. I've got a website, OmegansAreLiars.com. I have a website at NESARASucks.com. NESARA is their political agenda. It's what they want to pull when they arrive here on Earth. And they're going to come either, hostile, or I don't know how you call an invasion not hostile. Because it's just another hostile invasion. And you have these government disinfo idiots all over the internet that want us to believe how friendly, and, all these aliens just like E.T. I'm sure you'd want to take one home to your kids when these things are cannibals, and they're bloodsuckers, and they're, you don't want to take one home to your kids, But our government wants you to think that they're friendly. But you know what? That's only one part of the government. The other half knows. The other half knows that they're hostile beings, and they're the ones that are fighting against their arrival here. And so that's why they will implement these space weapons. And when they say that they're going to come out, a lot of hoo-ha lately this week on the internet about George Bush weaponizing space. When they announce that they're thinking about something, or they're thinking about doing something, then they're already gone with it. It's already implemented, folks. That's just doublespeak. That means they've already had it going, it's operational, it's working, and they've probably had it for 10 years. I mean, the rule of thumb for military information is that before they announce something, even as a slight conditioning, like a plan, like, we're going to budget this, or we're going to start a study on this, or we might do this, it means they've already had it 10 or 20 years. And so that's the rule of thumb for the military. And so, he's already got some kind of space weaponization going on. And this is the same thing that Ronald Reagan wanted to do back in the 80s with the Star Wars initiative that was batted down. And Ronald Reagan knew that there was going to be a threat from outer space, and he made quotes in effect to it, and I have them on my website at thewatcherfiles.com. And he knew that there was going to be a threat from outer space coming. And the Russians know this. And the Russians and Americans, this whole Cold War facade, this all it was a lie, because they've always been working together. I mean, this whole, you're communist, we're democratic, and we're going to go to war and have an arms race, and that whole 10-year stint was just to get, so they could spend money, raise money, to do other things. I mean, we know the United States has been busy the last 50 years on mind control projects. They've been knee-deep in mind control and chip implantation, how to chip and control the population. That's where they've been. And while they were in mind control and chip implantation, the Russians had already left that area because they already mastered it, and they were going into space. And that's where they got their weather weapon. They had their weather weapon 10 years before we had HAARP. And so everybody's the same technology, it's just different times. And we've got more than, they want to make it sound like we just have this one space station, joint space station space with the Russians. And according to my knowledge of source, there's 18 space stations, folks. We don't have just one or two. We've got 18. and only 2 of them are even accessible by humans, which means the aliens are controlling the other 18. We've basically built them 18 space stations. And what are they doing up there? They have to get away. They get away from public view. And that's where they practice their master race experiments. So they're cloning. If you've seen the Super Soldiers, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, conditioning people for cyber soldiers, and that's what they're doing, folks. You know, half human, half machines. They try all kinds of experiments, and that's where they do them. They do them in space. Give me a call at 877-624-4331. Comment or question. And so that's why this summer things seem to be jumping, because this is their window of opportunity to announce NESARA, to make their presence known on Earth. And once they do, there's no turning back, folks. So do you really want disclosure? Do we appreciate the fact that the government refuses to acknowledge their existence? Or do we want them to acknowledge their existence? Give me a call and let me know what you think about it. Because I really don't think disclosure is such a great idea. You know, when you think of the pros and cons of disclosure, then you're actually admitting that they're here. And you're giving them the foothold that they need to say, yeah, we're here, we're right here. And then all of a sudden we have them in our faces. At least now they have to hide. Now they're hiding. So what do we want? Do we want them in the closet or out? Personally, I want them off the planet. But it's not going to happen that way. We're going to take a 2-minute, about a 4-minute break here, folks, and we'll be back. We'll see you in about 4 minutes.
USA Radio Network Sports. I'm Ray Canterbury. Dwayne Wade poured in 36 points and corralled 7 rebounds as the Heat got past the Pistons 113-104 in Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals at the Palace of Auburn Hills. Heat guard Kalen Dooling says the play of Shaquille O'Neal was key.
I mean, the big fella stepped up. He made a lot of free throws for us tonight. Just his presence on the court has really felt. I mean, even though he's like 75%, just his presence, you know, he demands attention. He demands the ball. He demands a lot of things on the court, so we appreciate when he's out there.
While Danica Patrick didn't win the 89th running of the Indy 500 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on Sunday, she did make some history. Patrick finished 4th and became the first woman to lead a lap at the greatest spectacle in racing. Dan Weldon took the checkered flag. Top-seeded American Lindsay Davenport advanced to the quarterfinals of the French Open for the first time since 1999 with a 3-set victory over Kim Clijsters. And you're listening to USA Radio Sports.
Do not adjust your station. That's not static. It's a dozen dogs who got the #2 flea control product just 1 week ago, and they're already scratching away. Now hear this. Silence. The sound of a dozen dogs who used Frontline Plus 4 weeks ago. So which dogs would you rather have in a cramped radio booth with you? Hey, give me back my shoe. Frontline Plus. It's waterproof and kills fleas fast all month long. Say goodbye to fleas and ticks.
May I help you?
Yeah, it's just cold. My sinuses feel like they're going to explode.
Sudafed, aisle 5.
My allergies have my sinuses all stuffed up.
Sudafed, aisle 5.
Tell the man what's wrong.
My sinuses. Sudafed, aisle 5.
Sinus misery? Get Sudafed. Nothing stronger at relieving even your worst sinus symptoms. Not even a prescription.
This congestion.
Sudafed, aisle 5. Sudafed, prescription strength sinus relief. Based on 24-hour dose of pseudoephedrine.
Ken Griffey Jr.'s 3-run homer capped off a 6-run second inning as the Reds went on to rout the Pirates 11-2 in the finale of a 4-game set at Great American Ballpark. Reds starting and winning pitcher Brandon Clausen says pitching deep into the game is what he is always shooting for.
I mean, it feels good. You know, I go out there every time hoping to do that, trying to do that, and it's nice when the plan works.
Atlanta beat Philadelphia 7-2. Florida topped the Mets 6-3. It was Houston 2, Milwaukee 1. Washington shaded St. Louis 3-2. Chicago bombed Colorado 11-6. It was San Diego 9, San Francisco 6. The Dodgers doubled up Arizona 6-3. In the American League, Cleveland fought off Oakland 6-2. It was Toronto 4, Minnesota 0. Detroit beat Baltimore 8-6. It was Texas all over Chicago.